Amedeo Modigliani was born in Livorno, Italy in 1884. The youngest of 4 children, Amedeo struggled with many health issues from an early age, including tuberculosis. His illnesses often confined him to his room, where art and drawing became a creative outlet. His love for drawing and infatuation with the current artists and art movements, such as the Macchiaioli, acted as an incentive for him to try and recover from his illnesses in order to attend an art school and be taught by the artists that he so looked up to. Amedeo attended the Scuola Libera di Nudo in Florence, but eventually moved. In 1906, he moved to Paris during the avant-garde movement, where he came into contact with such artists as Pablo Picasso. Modigliani squatted in the Bateau Lavoir, a communal studio for starving artists. During this time, he was inspired by artists such as Paul Cézanne and Picasso, and borrowed artistic elements from the Cubist movement, but never fully committed to this particular art style.
As mentioned, Amedeo Modigliani was an Italian artist and sculptor who from the years of 1909 to 1914 solely devoted himself to sculpture. What made Modigliani stand out was that much of his work was nude modern art characterized by faces, long necks, portraits, and figures. His art pieces also tell a different story about his life in art, which was very impactful and still to this day very important. For these reasons, however, when Modigliani first began using this type of art style, it was only partially accepted at the time. But today, his art is now recognized worldwide.
The Paris Show of 1917 was the only solo exhibition Modigliani did during his lifetime. This show is popular in modern art history because of the reaction it provokes from the public and the obscenity of it. On the show's first opening day, it was immediately closed by the police but still continued after. Nude Sitting on a Divan is one of a series of nudes painted by Modigliani during this time of the show that created a lot of commotion when exhibited in Paris in 1917. There are several nude paintings between 1916 and 1919 that are known as some of Modigliani's best works. This series includes a few paintings such as Reclining Nude 1917, Nu Couche 1917, Women with Blue Eyes 1918, and Alice 1919. The series of nudes was commissioned by Leipold Zabrowski. During Modigliani's lifetime, he sold numerous pieces of his artwork. However, his pieces never sold for a lot of money, and the money that he would make from these pieces he would spend on his bad habits. Modigliani attracted a lot of female attention during his time, and women came and went until he met his early wife, Beatrice Hastings. The two were together for almost 2 years, and Hastings became the subject of several of his portraits during this time of his life, such as the portrait Madame Pompadour. Modigliani was introduced to Jean Hubetern in 1917 by a Russian sculptor of the name Chana Orlov. Jean Hubetern came from a very conservative bourgeoisie family background. Hubetern's family abandoned her when they found out her involvement with Amedeo Modigliani, since he was Jewish and her family was very Catholic. Jean began to pose for him and appears in several of his paintings. After the two had been together for some time, they moved to Nice, France in 1918, and Hubetern gave birth to their daughter Jean. Later on, Hubetern became pregnant again and the couple got engaged. Hubetern's parents were very against the marriage, especially since Modigliani had a reputation for drug use and alcoholism. The wedding plans never commenced because of the sudden news that Modigliani discovered he had a severe form of tuberculosis. Towards the very end of Amedeo Modigliani's life, he still continued to paint. However, his health was deteriorating very rapidly. He also began to experience more frequent blackouts from his alcohol use. Amedeo Modigliani died on January 24, 1920. After his passing, there was a large funeral for him. When Modigliani died, Hubetern was 8 months pregnant with their second child. Due to heartbreak, Hubetern threw herself out of a window, killing herself and the unborn child. Modigliani was buried in Père-Lachaise Cemetery, and Hubetern was buried at the Cemetery des Bagnoux. In 1930, her family allowed for her body to be moved beside Modigliani's grave, and now a single tombstone honors them both. Modigliani did not want to be categorized with any of the themes of Cubism, Futurism, Surrealism, etc. He was unclassifiable, and through his career, he strived to be different as an artist. Since Modigliani's death, his reputation has grown. There have been many novels written about his life, and a play, documentary, and 3 feature films. Amedeo Modigliani was a very successful and unique artist during his time, and his artistic legacy continues to live on today and inspire many others.